Bordentown is a city in Burlington County, New Jersey, United States. As of the 2010 United States Census, the city's population was 3,924. The population declined by 45 from the 3,969 counted in the 2000 U.S. Census, which had in turn declined by 372 from the 4,341 counted in the 1990 census. Bordentown is located at the confluence of the Delaware River, Blacks Creek and Crosswicks Creek. The latter is the border between Burlington and Mercer counties. Bordentown is 5.8 miles southeast from Trenton and 25.3 miles northeast of Philadelphia. Bordentown was originally incorporated as a borough by an act of the New Jersey legislature on December 9, 1825, from portions within Chesterfield Township. It was reincorporated as a city on April 3, 1867, and separated from Chesterfield Township c. 1877. History. Thomas Farnsworth, an English Quaker, was credited with being the first European settler in the Bordentown area in 1682. When he moved his family upriver from Burlington, he made a new home on the wind-swept bluff overlooking the broad bend in the Delaware River. The Farnsworth's cabin was situated near the northwest corner of Park Street and Prince Street, perhaps where an 1883 frame house now stands. Farnsworth Landing soon became the center of trade for the region. Farnsworth is also the namesake of one of Bordentown's main street, Farnsworth Avenue. Joseph Borden, for whom the city is named, arrived in 1717, and by May 1740 founded a transportation system to carry people and freight between New York City and Philadelphia. This exploited Bordentown's natural location as the point on the Delaware River that provided the shortest overland route to Perth Amboy, from which cargo and people could be ferried to New York City. By 1776, Bordentown was full of patriots. Patience Levelwright, America's first female sculptor, was creating wax busts in King George's Court in England. Later, however, Bordentown became a rabble-rousing hotbed. In addition to Joseph Borden's son, who became a colonel during the war, patriots Francis Hopkinson, Colonel Kirkbride, Colonel Okie Hoagland and Thomas Paine resided in the area. Due to their well-published activity in Bordentown, the British retaliated. Hessians occupied the town in 1776, and the British pillaged and razed the town during May and June 1778. Other notable people who have lived in the city include Clara Barton, who in 1852 started the first free public school in New Jersey and later founded the American Red Cross. A recreation of her schoolhouse stands at the corner of Crosswicks and Burlington Streets. The Bordentown School operated from 1894 to 1955. Joseph Bonaparte, several years after the banishing of his family from France in 1816, arriving under vigilant disguise as the Count de Chevaliers. Joseph Bonaparte, former King of Naples and Spain and brother to Napoleon I of France, established his residence in Bordentown. He lived there for 17 years, entertaining guests of great fame such as Henry Clay, Daniel Webster and the future 6th U.S. President, John Quincy Adams. The residents of Bordentown nicknamed the Count, the Good Mr. Bonaparte. He built a lake near the mouth of Crosswicks Creek that was about 200 yards wide and half a mile long. On the bluff above it he built a new home, Point Breeze. The current Divine Word Mission occupies its former site along Park Street. Today only vestiges of the Bonaparte estate remain. Much of it is actually the remains of a building remodeled in English Georgian Revival style in 1924 for Harris Hammond, who purchased the estate at Point Breeze, built in 1850 by Henri Beckett, a British consul in Philadelphia. In addition to the rubble of this mansion and some hedges of its elaborate gardens, Only the original tunnel to the river and the House of Bonaparte secretary remain. Many descendants of Joachim Murat, King of Naples, also were born or lived in Bordentown, having followed their uncle Joseph there. After the Bonaparte dynasty was restored by Napoleon III, they moved back to France and were recognized as princes. In August 1831, master mechanic Isaac Drips of Bordentown reassembled the locomotive John Bull in just 10 days. It was built by Robert Stephenson and Company, in England, and was imported into Philadelphia by the Camden and Amboy Railroad. The next year it started limited service, and the year after that regular service, to become one of the first successful locomotives in the United States. The John Bull is preserved at the Smithsonian Institution in Washington, D.C. In 1866, Susan Waters moved into what is now one of the larger properties on Mary Street. This was a base from which she taught and produced over 50 of her works, many of which are painting of animals in natural settings and pastoral scenes. She was also an early photographer. In 1876 she was asked to exhibit several of her works at the Philadelphia Centennial Exposition. In 1881, Rev. William Bowen purchased the old Spring Villa Female Seminary building and reopened it as the Bordentown Military Institute. In 1886, African-American Rev. Walter A. Rice established a private school for African-American children, the Manual Training and Industrial School for Colored Youth, in a two-story house at 60 West Street, which later moved to Walnut Street on the banks of the Delaware, and became a public school in 1894 under Jim Crow laws. The school, which was known as the Bordentown School, came to have a 400-acre, 30-building campus with 2 farms, a vocational, technical orientation, and a college preparatory program. In 1909, the religious order, Poor Clares, established a convent in the former mother house of the Sisters of Mercy on Crosswick Street. The building still stands and is used as an assisted living home for non-ambulatory elderly, called the Clare Estate. The Order of Poor Clares moved to a new facility outside Bordentown City. The city has become a destination for weekend dining as well as for the casual perusal of its bookstores, historical sites and art galleries. The active Downtown Business Association sponsors an annual Iris Festival and Art Show in early May, an annual street fair in mid to late May, and an annual Cranberry Festival in early October. The Bordentown Historical Society sponsors other events, such as the Holiday House Tour and Peach Social. Geography. According to the United States Census Bureau, the city had a total area of 0.968 square miles, including 0.929 square miles of land and 0.039 square miles of water. The city of Bordentown is surrounded on 3 sides by Bordentown Township and on the western side by the juncture of the Delaware River and Crosswicks Creek, which is the border with Hamilton Township in Mercer County. It is bounded on the east by U.S. Route 130 and U.S. Route 206, on the south by Blacks Creek and Interstate 295, and on the north by the Mile Hollow Run. Across the Delaware River is Falls Township in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. The former 40-acre Parkland Dump brownfield site is being transformed to a solar array by PSE&G as part of a project that began in 2014. Demographics. Census 2010. At the 2010 United States Census, there were 3,924 people, 1,859 households, and 922.1 families residing in the city. The population density was 4,222.3 per square mile. There were 2,014 housing units at an average density of 2,167.1 per square mile. The racial makeup of the city was 83.51% white, 10.12% black or African American, 0.20% Native American, 2.73% Asian, 0.03% Pacific Islander, 1.17% from other races, and 2.24% from two or more races. Hispanics or Latinos of any race were 5.81% of the population. There were 1,859 households, of which 21.3% had children under the age of 18 living with them, 32.4% were married couples living together, 13.5% had a female householder with no husband present, and 50.4% were non-families. 41.3% of all households were made up of individuals, and 14.0% had someone living there alone who was 65 years of age or older. The average household size was 2.10 and the average family size was 2.91. In the city, 18.4% of the population were under the age of 18, 8.2% from 18 to 24, 30.8% from 25 to 44, 29.2% from 45 to 64, and 13.5% who were 65 years of age or older. The median age was 40.3 years. For every 100 females there were 91.1 males. For every 100 females age 18 and over, there were 87.1 males. The Census Bureau's 2006 to 2010 American Community Survey showed that median household income was $66,557 and the median family income was $90,165. Males had a median income of $52,652 versus $48,906 for females. The per capita income for the borough was $36,814. About 1.7% of families and 3.6% of the population were below the poverty line, including 0.0% of those under age 18 and 12.1% of those age 65 or over. Census 2000. As of the 2000 United States Census, there were 3,969 people, 1,757 households, and 989 families residing in the city. The population density was 4,303.6 inhabitants per square mile. There were 1,884 housing units at an average density of 2,042.8 per square mile. The racial makeup of the city was 81.25% white, 13.08% African American, 0.05% Native American, 1.91% Asian, 0.03% Pacific Islander, 0.81% from other races, and 2.87% from two or more races. Hispanic or Latino of any race were 2.82% of the population. There were 1,757 households, out of which 24.9% had children under the age of 18 living with them, 39.2% were married couples living together, 13.1% had a female householder with no husband present, and 43.7% were non-families. 35.7% of all households were made up of individuals and 10.9% had someone living there alone who was 65 years of age or older. The average household size was 2.23 and the average family size was 2.93. In the city, the population was spread out with 20.9% under the age of 18, 7.7% from 18 to 24, 34.2% from 25 to 44, 23.2% from 45 to 64, and 14.0% who were 65 years of age or older. The median age was 38 years. For every 100 females there were 90.1 males. For every 100 females age 18 and over, there were 86.5 males. The median income for a household in the city was $47,279, and the median income for a family was $59,872. Males had a median income of $39,909 versus $31,780 for females. The per capita income for the city was $25,882. About 4.0% of families and 6.8% of the population were below the poverty line, including 7.8% of those under age 18 and 10.9% of those age 65 or over. Economy. Downtown Bordentown has many book and antique stores lining its streets, with Italian and American restaurants. The restaurants are primarily Italian, but there are also restaurants and diners that specialize in American food, Chinese food, and more recently Japanese and Latin American food. Government. Local government. Bordentown has been governed under the Walsh Act since 1913, with a governing body consisting of 3 commissioners, one of whom is selected to serve as mayor. Each commissioner is assigned a specific department to oversee during their term in office. Members are elected to 4-year concurrent terms in office on a non-partisan basis as part of the May municipal election. As of 2015, update, Bordentown's commissioners are Mayor Joseph R. Malone, 3 Deputy Mayor James E. Lynch, Jr., and Zygmunt Targonski, all serving terms of office that end in May 2017. Environmental Commission. The Bordentown City Environmental Commission is a volunteer group of Bordentown City residents. The commission is an official body, and its chair answers to the mayor. The BCEC advises local officials and the planning board regarding environmental issues and is a watchdog for environmental problems and opportunities. It is designed to inform elected officials and the public, serve on committees, research issues, develop educational programs and advocate for sound environmental policies. Local issues include preservation of open space, promoting walking and bicycling trails and the river line, protection of wetlands and water quality, recycling and energy conservation, and environmental education. The BCEC's most current efforts have focuses upon a bicycle and pedestrian circulation study, the city's open space plan, and the development of a set of local greenways. State government. The New Jersey Juvenile Justice Commission operates 2 juvenile detention centers in the Johnston campus in Bordentown. Johnston Campus Juvenile Female Secure Care and Intake Facility, which houses the state's adjudicate girls, and Juvenile Medium Security Facility North Compound and the Juvenile Medium Security Facility South Compound for boys. Federal, state and county representation. Bordentown City is located in the 3rd Congressional District and is part of New Jersey's 7th State Legislative District. Prior to the 2011 reapportionment following the 2010 census, Bordentown City had been in the 30th State Legislative District. Prior to the 2010 census, Bordentown City had been part of the 4th Congressional District. A change made by the New Jersey Redistricting Commission that took effect in January 2013. Based on the results of the November 2012 general elections, New Jersey's 3rd Congressional District is represented by Tom MacArthur. New Jersey is represented in the United States Senate by Cory Booker and Bob Menendez. The 7th District of the New Jersey Legislature is represented in the State Senate by Diane Allen and in the General Assembly by Herb Conaway and Troy Singleton. The Governor of New Jersey is Chris Christie. The Lieutenant Governor of New Jersey is Kim Wadenow. Burlington County is governed by a board of chosen freeholders, whose 5 members are elected at large in partisan elections to 3-year terms of office on a staggered basis. with either one or two seats coming up for election each year. The board chooses a director and deputy director from among its members at an annual reorganization meeting held in January. As of 2015, update, Burlington County's freeholders are Director Mary Ann O'Brien, Deputy Director Bruce Garganio, Amy Bellegarde, Joseph Donnelly, and Joanne Schwartz. Constitutional officers are County Clerk Tim Tyler, Sheriff John E. Stanfield, and Surrogate George T. Koch. Politics. As of March 23, 2011, there were a total of 2,493 registered voters in Bordentown City, of which 906 were registered as Democrats. 500 were registered as Republicans and 1,085 were registered as unaffiliated. There were 2 voters registered to other parties. Among the city's 2010 census population, 63.5% were registered to vote, including 77.9% of those ages 18 and over. In the 2012 presidential election, Democrat Barack Obama received 1,298 votes, ahead of Republican Mitt Romney with 605 votes and other candidates with 34 votes. Among the 1,954 ballots cast by the city's 2,634 registered voters, for a turnout of 74.2%. In the 2008 presidential election, Democrat Barack Obama received 1,305 votes, ahead of Republican John McCain with 669 votes and other candidates with 25 votes. Among the 2015 ballots cast by the city's 2,543 registered voters, for a turnout of 79.2%. In the 2004 presidential election, Democrat John Kerry received 1,151 votes, ahead of Republican George W. Bush with 778 votes and other candidates with 17 votes. Among the 1,961 ballots cast by the city's 2,488 registered voters, for a turnout of 78.8%. In the 2013 gubernatorial election, Republican Chris Christie received 661 votes, ahead of Democrat Barbara Buono with 579 votes and other candidates with 30 votes. Among the 1,295 ballots cast by the city's 2,658 registered voters, yielding a 48.7% turnout. In the 2009 gubernatorial election, Democrat John Corzine received 714 ballots cast, ahead of Republican Chris Christie with 553 votes. Independent Chris Daggett with 86 votes and other candidates with 54 votes. Among the 1,424 ballots cast by the city's 2,567 registered voters, yielding a 55.5% turnout.